We are interviewing John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown. John Wayne Gacy is an American serial killer and rapist. He was famous for the crimes of sexually assaulting 33 teenage boys in Illinois in 1972 through 1978. Can you please describe your childhood, looking back now at the specific events that you can remember that may contribute to you committing these crimes?
Well, my childhood was kind of a roller coaster of emotions. I had a great relationship with my two sisters and mother. My grandparents immigrated from Poland, and I always had a great relationship with them. However, my father and I did not get along very well. My father was an alcoholic and daily abused my mother and all three of us children. A huge event in my childhood which changed me was when my father taught me how to assemble an engine and then told me to assemble the parts. Instead, I just disassembled all the parts. He started screwing at me and then grabbed a leather belt and started beating me with it. My whole childhood consisted of me always in a fight with my father, and he beat me a few other times. Another huge incident that happened in my childhood is when a family friend of mine would give me rides in his truck and then would continue to molest me as we drove down the road.
Some criminal profiles believe that the children exhibit behaviors such as obsession to start fires, animal cruelty, and bedwetting is an unacceptable age at the early indications that one may become a murderer. Did you engage in any of these behaviors as a child?
Well, I never did have an interest in causing problems, but I did have a problem I had a heart condition that was big problems growing up, and I experienced blackouts during physical activity and was told not to play any sports. This made me feel very discluded with all my friends, and I became very overweight because of this. I spent over a year in the hospital in my high school career, and my grades started to decrease because of this, which overall caused me not to graduate from my high school my first time. All right, next question.
What is the highest level of education that you received? Did you graduate high school? Did you go to college?
Well, I completed 16 high school courses. However, I never managed to graduate because I couldn't keep up with my grades during all the time I spent at the hospital. I got a job as an ambulance service where I was around a lot of dead bodies. All of it was too much of a shock, so I decided to return home and got accepted into the Northwestern Business College and graduated in 1963. I did complete my high school degree while in prison in Anamosa State Penitentiary.
Can you give us a description of your work history?
Well, in 1966, my father-in-law offered me the opportunity to manage 3 Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants he had purchased in Waterloo. I accepted the jobs and got paid $15,000 per year, and I received part of the profit. I really enjoyed the amount of money I received, but the hours I had to work were tough, and I didn't have a lot of free time.
Did you engage in any criminal behavior prior to the murders? If so, did you get arrested or spend any time in jail?
Yes. In 1967, I committed my first crime when I sexually assaulted a teenage boy. The boy was named Donald Voorhees, and he was 15 years old. The court found me guilty of 1 count of sodomy, and I got sentenced to 10 years of prison in Mosa State Penitentiary.
Prior to the murders, did you say you had a healthy social life? Were you married with children? Did you live alone? Did you have many friends?
Well, the period of my life prior to my murders is what I would call perfect. I had a good paying job, a good wife, and 2 kids that I love very much. I was first married to Marlon Myers. After we got divorced, I got married to Carl Hoff and had 2 children. My father even had a private talk with me and said he was wrong about me during my childhood, and he apologized for all the mental and physical abuse.
Were you considered to be healthy at the time of the murders? Have doctors diagnosed you with any mental, physical conditions that may have contributed to you committing these crimes?
Well, no. I was never clear of my heart condition that I had growing up, and I would occasionally experience blackouts, but not even close as much as I had growing up. After my first crime of sexually assaulting Donald Voorhees, the doctors examined me and found out that I had antisocial personality disorder. The doctors said that no medicine or therapy would help this condition, so I was just stuck with this disorder the rest of my life, including during the time of the murders.
Can you explain to us the first time you killed? Who were the victim? Why did you select them, and where did this all happen?
Well, it all started in 1972 when I picked up 16-year-old Timothy Jack McCoy from Chicago's Greyhound bus terminal. I took McCoy, who was traveling from Michigan to Omaha, on on a sightseeing tour of Chicago. I then drove him to his home with the promise that he could spend the night and be driven back to the station in time to catch his bus. I stabbed him repeatedly in the chest and stabbed him with his body, strangled him. I substantially buried McCoy in my crawl space and later covered the youth's grave with a layer of concrete so that they won't be able to find it if they search my house.
Overall, how many people would you admit to killing?
Well, it's kind of hard to remember all the people. It's all kind of a big blur, but I would say it's somewhere around 33.
Did all your motos have the same MO?
Well, I would have to say so. I lured my victims with the promise of construction work, and then captured, sexually assaulted, and eventually strangled most of them with rope. When I killed my victims, I sometimes dressed as Pogo the Clown to gain a reputation as a serial killer, and that's where I received my nickname, Killer Clown.
Criminal profilers differentiate between organized or disorganized killers. What would you classify yourself?
I'd have to say more organized, because I would have to say all my killings happened in my home, and I buried the bodies in my house in the crawl space, and it was never really sloppy until I got caught because I made one bad mistake. But overall, they're all pretty organized.
Why would you say you killed? Some profilers classify serial killers as different types of killers. Do you feel you fit in one of these categories? What was your motivation?
I would have to say for sexual reasons. I got sexual pleasure from killing people, and every day I would just want more and more of it. Many health officials think that it was because I had an alternate personality disorder, but I really don't find that true. I truly just felt pleasure in killing and just really did it for myself.
Criminals believe that many social killers leave a signature at the crime. Did you?
I kept most of my killings in my home and buried them in a crawl space. Even gave the body a tombstone. So overall, there was not really any signal I gave or any signature.
Can you describe how you were eventually captured? What led to your arrest?
Well, how I was captured is a very long story, so I'll have to put that in shorter story. So it started when I entered a pharmacy and talked to the owner about a remodeling deal for his store he wanted to open up. I saw a boy named Robert Priest and decided to ask him for a job interview. I took him and raped him and then murdered him. The police were strong in this case, and the pharmacy owner told the police that he saw me leave with the boy, so they decided to search my home, where they found my handgun and handcuffs. I was put under constant surveillance after this search, and a local officer came into my bedroom to get a serial number on my TV and smelled the smell of rotting flesh. The officer filed another search warrant, and they discovered my crawl space where I dug graves for my victim. They found remains, and I knew I had no way of getting out of it. I admitted to killing 25 to 30 people.
Did you eventually stand trial or take a plea bargain? What were you sentenced to?
Well, on the morning of May 9th, 1964, I was transferred from the Menard Correctional Center to Stateville Correctional Center in Crest Hill to be executed. That afternoon, I was allowed a private picnic on the prison grounds with my family. I was allowed to pick my last meal, so I decided to pick a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, a dozen fried shrimp, French fries, fresh strawberries, and a Diet Coke.
All right, we'd like to finish off with our 2 questions. Do you regret doing any of these crimes, and why?
I would say I really do regret, because I had a good life going for me, and I really screwed it up. I was even becoming wealthy in prison. Some of my paintings were in exhibits and even were sold in auctions from $200,000 to $20,000 of clown pictures.
What was the hardest part about these killings?
The hardest part for me was just trying to get away with these, and I was trying to get a solid alibi so I didn't get caught. It was always hard, always being scared that someone would smell something or someone would get suspicious. So overall, I just got really scared, and I got scared of the fear of going to prison. So that was probably the hardest part of killing.
Well, thank you, John.